Thank you for listening to the Astro Tea Podcast.
Hi guys, it's your girl SupernovaJazz, and I'm back. I can't believe it. Yes, I'm back for another podcast. This episode's called Balancing Health and Love, and I'm back with a friend. What's up, girls? Diana.
Hey,
tell the people who you are.
So my name is Diana, and I am a body confidence influencer and creator. I actually have my own brand called Sesatioal Bodies, where I help other women with their weight loss journeys, loving their bodies, transforming their relationship with food. I do social media management as well, so I do a little bit of everything.
She's an Aries, okay? She's cardinal energy for sure. And this episode is going to be so different because not only has it been maybe a year and a half, I've already released Rebirth, or Reaffirm is my new episode for the first season. So this is the second episode of this season. And it just feels good. It feels good to be back. It's not giving, oh my God, I'm quarantine vibes. It's giving, all right, I feel planted. I got 2 feet on the ground. What's next? And it just feels good to do this in the new year, 2023. Because I feel like 2022, people are still attaching themselves to that trauma. And now everyone's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to meet up with the gang. I'm ready to meet up with, meet new people, reconnect with people I haven't seen in a while. And we did link up a few times before this, but before that was
Forever ago.
I think like 2019.
Yeah, it was 2019.
Right.
It's been a hot minute. But we're back in the streets.
Yes, in the Astro Tea streets, baby. But it's so beautiful because we're actually not in the streets, because we're going to talk about our loving relationships with, just being healthy, relating with someone else, romantically, in business settings, and platonic settings, but also with ourselves. Like Diana says, she is a nutritionist. She focuses on body positive, and especially as women, our bodies change. That's why they say a bunch of girls who want to get the BBLs too fast, don't worry, the grown woman weight is coming. Oof. Without the baby. You don't need the baby to get the grown woman weight.
You have no idea. Let me tell you about it.
We're just talking about all the synchronicities we've been seeing. And, life is all about balance and balancing health. And health is love. Health is wealth. Right now, we should be, by the time this episode comes out, in Aquarius season. And Venus will be going in Aquarius, or is in Aquarius right now. So being able to logically step back and think about, I love all these things like food and pleasure and, going out to the trips, going out to the dates. And, how does that differ? Especially, you're like me. We like to eat when we're happy. We like to eat when we're, upset. With every emotion, how does it feel to just explore with someone you love, but also remember, wait, I have goals and it's a new year. I'm trying to lose 30 pounds.
It's definitely an interesting time for me, especially being known as the weight loss girl, the girl that lost weight. I lost over 60 pounds. That's how I even went on to create Sesatioal Bodies and just create that journey of loving your body and transforming your body. But your girl's engaged. She entered into a new relationship, and there's a lot of different things going on, and weight is one of them. I will definitely say that when I went through my first weight loss journey, I was very determined. I was very I want to lose this weight. I am going to lose this weight. And I lost it. And I maintained that weight off for 8 years, which is wild. I didn't gain a single pound on or off. It was absolutely crazy. And then entering this new relationship, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. This man wined, dined, took me out every minute he could. And we really did, we still do. We live in happiness and food, and our relationship revolves around it. But I gained a lot of weight. I gained 60 of the 70 pounds I lost. And it sounds crazy. And at first I had a lot of trouble dealing with that reality. I will say I did love the changes that came with it, because now I got like grown body assets. I got like grown woman assets, so I'm here for it. I was like the only Dominican without a big booty, and now I'm a Dominican with a big booty, so I'm here for it. But definitely a lot of changes took place, and at first I was kind of confused as to how I was gonna handle this, and kind of came to terms with the fact that I've gained the weight. So
right. And so before recording the episode, obviously, you know, we talk about what we're going to talk about. And, you know, I told you, I said, you know, this will be a good time to think about that first round when you lost all that weight. Where were you relationship wise versus now? And you said you were in a very toxic relationship. And it's so funny to see how that's the polar opposite. And now you're in a loving relationship. You're so happy that you listen to yourself, and, you know, you didn't put up with the bare minimum in relationships before. But tell me, like, go back into the first, because how old were you when you made that decision?
Oh my God. I was a little thing. I was literally 21. So the last relationship, I entered that relationship overweight. I was never overweight growing up. I had a really thin frame, believe it or not. I entered into a relationship out of high school. I gained a ton of weight. I left that relationship and entered a new one. When I entered that new one, I was extremely overweight. I went on the weight loss journey. So during that relationship, again, it was just very, like, I was very determined. I was like, I'm going to lose this weight. But the difference in the last relationship and this relationship, I will tell you this. I had to kind of sit down and realize, so many people were like, do you understand what took place? The reason why you were able to maintain all this weight off was, number one, because you were starving yourself, essentially, to some degree, in the sense of you were so busy, you weren't happy, you didn't turn to food as any kind of comfort, you didn't find the pleasures in food. And honestly, like, when your hormones also shift, you know, like, I had a really big hormone shift as far as the relationship I was in and the one I'm in now. I also have another factor, which was getting off of birth control. So during my last relationship, I was on birth control. I got off of it. So I would say there's a lot of different factors, but one of the biggest things I realized was the reason why I was able to maintain that weight off and I didn't gain any weight was because I wasn't happy. Like, there wasn't anything to really look forward to. We didn't do the wine and dine. Our relationship didn't really revolve around those things. So I will really attribute that to, like, the difference. Like, whenever I'm like, oh, I've gained so much weight, people are like, girl, but you're happy, you're living, you're thriving. Like, it's a really big difference, and your body hormonally is gonna react differently to that change.
Right. Yeah, it's so funny because one of my questions for you is emotional eating. So it's like you were emotional eating, but your emotions was telling you to be just like fearful, avoidant of enjoying a good meal, you know, and where it can be the opposite too, where you're so depressed, and that's definitely something that I have fallen heed to in the trends of my life is I'm looking for the good foods, the foods that's going to give me that dopamine rush, the late night ice cream, you know. And with the full moon that just passed in January 6th, it really shows you that sometimes what you're trying to get out in stuffing yourself. It's so funny. It's like you have to do the opposite. You have to emotionally purge versus emotionally suppressing with, like, literally physically food. And I didn't realize, because I too was in a toxic relationship when I gained a lot of weight and lost a lot of weight, and now I'm in a loving relationship and I gained a lot of that weight back, right? So, but, you know, for me then, I realized that I actually, as I picked up a book, I was starting to learn about different eating disorders. And I was binge eating, girl. I had to really like, even to this day now, I kind of have to sit down and be like, you know, if you go look more than, but you have to listen to your body. You have to sit down. You have to allow the brain to connect with the body. Do you really, the intention as well, like what I gathered from what you were saying, that there was no intention. That a lot of that weight fell off because it was you know, depression, even though you do have that keen interest in food and what it actually does for you. You are a dietitian. So talk to me about, did that have a lot to do with you becoming a dietitian, with all that weight that came off?
So that's essentially what pivoted my journey into building sensational bodies, becoming a nutritionist. I even went back to school, got my degree, all that good stuff, because I did want to understand how I got there in the first place. I wanted to understand my body. I wanted to understand how I could essentially change my health outcomes. And just like you said, like, especially the eating part, I have so many clients that talk to me and they're like, I'm stressed, I'm going through this. And just like you mentioned, I'm an emotional eater. I eat when I'm happy, sad, depressed, depending
especially
on what
Latinas.
Yeah, especially on like what the emotion is. My comfort, and I didn't realize that, and I realized that last year as I was talking to my clients when they were sharing their stories. I was like, wait, I'm talking to them and telling them to get their life together, and I am essentially doing the same. So something I've learned, especially with the food, is catching yourself, but in the heat of the moment when you're feeling these emotions, it's kind of like, how do you purge out the food part, right? Because if you're stressed, you don't need to eat. Maybe you need to read a book. Maybe you need to go outside and get some vitamin D. Maybe you just need like 8 hours of like really good sleep. Like, it doesn't always need to be food. So I think finding that balance, I think that's everyone's struggle, is like, how can I feed my emotions without it being essentially food? How can I feed my emotions?
Right. And, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to that. They want the relationship, right? They're on the single side of things and they're saying, you know, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to, you know, I want to look the best in the room. I want to appeal to the male gaze, or I want to appeal to, you know, the woman gaze. And so you'll do things drastically when you're, you know, you got to get that single body or whatever, quote, air quotations, if you're just listening to this. But I find that when I'm not thinking about how I'm looking, it's more about like how I'm feeling. Because a lot of the times too, I could be working out and then eating like shit. Yeah. So the grams can see that I'm working out, or, you know, whoever can see, oh, you consistent, but I'm still struggling with, you know, my emotions and not grabbing something to forget about what I just need to sit through and breathe through, you know. So do you find that the relationship is real though? Like, is that real? Does that, like, should we put that blame on the relationship, or should we also hold ourselves accountable?
I would say to some degree, I think they both have some sort of say in that. I wouldn't say like put the blame on the relationship. At the end of the day, we have to hold ourselves accountable. And I can definitely say, as somebody that just experienced this, I lost control, in the sense of like, hey, there could have been a lot of moments where I've been like, you know, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, that sounds like a great time, right, but, you know, I have these goals in place and this is kind of like the lifestyle that I live. I maybe want to dial it back. And that's where I'm at right now, in that space of like, maybe we need to dial it back. So I would say, you know, at the end of the day, unfortunately, you do have to hold yourself accountable. Like, no one is really responsible for your mouth but you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It sounds crazy, but like, it is what it is.
And your mindset, you know, the relationship you have with literally fuel. The food is fuel. And I know a lot of people that are gym rats and they're healthy, and then they're also like mentally just like not there, you know?
It's really exhausting keeping up that persona of like, I'm super. So you have to find that balance, right? Because there are people, the gym rats, that they look amazing, but they struggle. They're counting calories. They're in the gym for 2-3 hours a day, you know, 7 days a week. That's exhausting. That is like literally the most exhausting thing. And obviously the opposite end of the extreme is the binge eaters, or someone that's at home like struggling with their weight, and maybe they're binging, they're finding different ways to suppress the food. So there really needs to be a balance, and that's a hard place to get to.
Right. And it's just like, how much do you love the results and the feeling? Because the results can be, you know, the actual weight goal, the amount of weight that fell off, or simply just looking good in a pair of jeans, or just the feeling of, I said I was gonna do that and I did it.
I actually did it.
And I did it. And you know why it's hard? Because not everyone can do it, and I did it. Something about that rush just feels so good. I mean, like, even recording this podcast, at one point I didn't know how to do any of this shit. It took me a while to, like, I haven't recorded in so long, guys, that I didn't know how to press the record button again. Dead ass. Like, I was like, I swear I know how to do this, Diana. Like, or how about when you feeling good and you all sexy and your relationship is shit, and it's like, are you really enjoying your health and the wealth? That's why I named this podcast this, you know, balancing health and love. They're very interchangeable.
Yes. And I want to say something to that, because you triggered this crazy thought in my mind that I should definitely share. I will say this: I've gained 60 pounds, but I'm extremely happy. I'm probably the most confident I've ever been in my skin, which is wild. Like, I think that is something about me. When I walk into the room, people are like, damn girl, like, you're confident. And it's because, again, it's mindset, it's the way you carry yourself. But I will say 60 pounds lighter 2 years ago, I was depressed. My mental health was shit. So yes, I have the body, let's say, of my dreams as far as like losing the weight, but on the mental side of things, my health was not great. So it's really easy to look at someone and be like, oh my gosh, she lost 60 pounds and she looks great and like good for her, but not really knowing everything that came with that, how I maintained it, the life I was living to have that weight loss, that body, or that image of like the girl that lost weight. So I didn't have it all. So yes, physically I was healthy, mentally I wasn't.
Right. It's like, not what's the dream body, what's the dream mindset, right? Because the dream body is a reflection of a healthy mindset, but we're still young, but we're not gonna always be young. Like, I'm at that age where injuries are they're healing slower, and you know, like, you have to be body conscious. And you know, with Venus going into Pisces is so beautiful, so loving. It's like your man feeding you all the cookies and all the cupcakes. And then you snap out of the, you know, because it happens. Like, you go back into work, you go back into, okay, what's next, grind mode. And then you're like, oh, wait, like, I forgot that every action involves a reaction. And overindulgence in sugar and a sugar addiction is just not good, you know. So I would feel that connection even more with my man when I'm not also under a sugar coma or like some type of freaking...
When you're in your right mind.
When you're in your right mind. And it's like, how about you quit sugar for 2 weeks and go through that withdrawal? Because that's so hard. I did it. I did no sugar for 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
And I dropped a lot of weight. I dropped 30 pounds in 6 weeks. No, I was like, oh my God, so unhappy. Started losing weight, broke up with the guy. Like, excuse me, get out of here. Like, you're not, I can't believe I was blinding myself with your shit because I didn't want to deal with my shit. And then life happens. You're going through different stages of your life. Like, you just ended a Saturn return, like you said. Like, you're the happiest you ever been. You've gone through some hard decision making. Nobody ever really wants to break up with someone. No one really wants to, like, look at the scale. No, these are things that, like, you do it out of pure love for yourself because you know there's some type of reward coming. And like when your parents tell you, like, I'm telling you this for your own good, and one day you gonna understand.
Yeah, you gonna look back and be like, oh, okay.
Right.
I get it now.
And it's just like, we are recording this episode in Capricorn season, and it's just holding yourself accountable, and there's love in that. Like, the dad has his role, the mom has her role. The dad might be as emotionally nurturing, but when he's telling you, yeah, you gotta do your homework, yeah, you do gotta finish the last, you know, vegetable on your plate, you think about that in the long run, and you're like, wow, those were habits that I was creating. So do you and your man like to go to the gym together? Like, how is that?
So we do. So I dragged him into this lifestyle, by the way. He wasn't a gym guy. I've always been a gym girl. I love the gym. I thrive in the gym. But I definitely brought him into that space, and I will say he does a great job of, like, keeping up with me. He has his moments. I can see him where he's like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I'm like, we're doing this. But he definitely shows up. He goes with me. He's a good sport.
It's a gym date.
It is. It's a moment for us to work out together. We go to a gym that happens to do like these HIIT workouts, and they're partners. So
oh, that's fun.
we are together at the gym too, because home is not enough. But he definitely shows up, and when I tell him it's time, he goes for it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Go to the gym together. We'll separate for a little bit, and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
At the weight station, and then I like doing that. I'm just one of those like, I'm here with you, but I'm in my own
Yeah, you're in
thing.
your zone.
It's just fun. It feels like a gym date because I don't like. I tell him like, babe, I don't always want to bond with you over food. I don't always want to bond with you over just relaxing and chill. Like, we decided to do some projects together. It was super fun, like Etsy designs. That was fun. But other things like health and, going for a run. And I'm like, be mean to me. Tell me, let's go. Let's go to the gym. Like, that's okay. Like, I like that. I think because I grew up in sports, I played soccer in 8th grade. And then I played like lacrosse throughout high school.
Nice.
Yeah, and just like dancing when I was younger. So it's just something about like moving the body and connecting with your partner. And spiritually, you are building that, that energy up, that masculine energy, and you're building up those hormones, and then you always leave so much better. You always leave like,
wow. You go in and you're like, oh, why am I here? And then you come out and you're like, wow, we like actually accomplished something together.
And what's 1 hour of your whole day?
It's really nothing. It feels like nothing. And depending on how you set it up, like we go at 6 a.m. So it's the start of our day. And I think setting your day up with that, like accomplishing something, like we come back home and we're like, okay, great. Like we did this, it's done.
Right.
All the endorphins are like running through your body. You feel good. You're like, oh, we're gonna have a badass day today. So you automatically kind of just set the tone for your day.
I guess when you're single, you're always thinking about, let me get the person, and then when you got the person, you're like, but you can't be just doing nothing. Like
you gotta maintain that. Now you gotta go into let me keep the person, like,
and let me challenge you and show you that I'm not settling for any, like I'm still on my journey of becoming my higher self. I'm still on my journey of, like I said, I want to lose 30 pounds this year. See how I feel. Check in. If I want to lose more, I'll lose more. Or I like to do this thing where 5 pounds at a time. Like 5 pounds.
Break it down.
Have you seen a jelly of 5 pounds? It's like this big.
It's huge.
It's
huge.
Coming from your whole body. Like I love to celebrate that and just be like, okay, cool. I'm ready to get out these ghetto ass 220s. I'm ready to get out these ghetto ass 230. And I just look at it like little chapters at a time. Do you guys drink a lot? Like, do you like always get a cocktail out? That's what kills me.
Oh, we're just talking about this before you came, because I was like, I think we need to quit alcohol. And he's like, we're not alcoholics. And I'm like, you're right. We're not
social drinkers.
But every time we go out, every time we sit down with
get
a
a
meal,
drink.
we have to get a drink. And it's like, why? We don't do that at home. Like, why
It's
do we need
those
to
habits.
do that every time? So we definitely agreed to like keep it cute, not do that as much. It's not necessary. We can eat our meal without a cocktail. It's unnecessary calories, and I don't really.
Yeah, you want to eat your calories, you want to drink your calories.
It don't, alcohol for me don't hit the same like it used to. I feel like with age, now when I drink, I'm just like, like it's so. I feel sluggish. I don't have that same like lit. Oh my god. I'm just like, I need to go to sleep. Like, I can't keep up with this, which is unfortunate. But it's like, did I really just spend money on a tranquilizer? Like,
and they're just, and here in South Florida, wherever you tune into, they're $15 tranquilizers. Like, I'm good.
Yes.
And then you have 4 of them. It's a bill.
Yeah, that's a whole. We're not doing that. We're trying to be financially responsible too. So that's
healthy relationships that need to be built with, like, hey, I know we want to talk about losing a lot of this weight. This is very vulnerable. Yes, I said I want to lose 30 pounds. Hope you don't look at me any different. Cool, you love me. You're still here. Okay, how's your credit? Like, it's just like, I think that's something that's good when you really hone down on one thing at a time, but it's all connected.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. That we've even like kind of scaled down like the amount of times we're going out to eat. We've like decided like we have goals as far as like I wouldn't say I have a number, like, oh, I want to lose this much pounds, but I definitely need to lower something, whether it's the BMI, inches on the body, whatever. And one of the biggest things we talked about is we shouldn't go out to eat as much. Like, I cook all 3 meals here at home. All those extra meals on the weekend is not necessary. And that aspect plays into finances and money.
Yeah.
How much bread do you spend when you go out to eat and you're getting 2 cocktails each, you get an appetizer, you get entrees? I mean, and I know for me, like, we're not sitting down having a burrito bowl at Chipotle. We're going out to eat. So
right.
On a financial scale too, we're like, we also, yes, we need to take care of ourselves health-wise, but we also need to take care of our pockets. And in return, we'll just be overall healthy. And especially when you're on a weight loss journey, the smartest way to lose weight is by cooking your food at home.
Right.
You know what's in it, you know the calories, you know it's not all greasy and stuff. So it just kind of just circles all back into each other. So that's definitely something we've been talking about as well.
There's a lot of people that might not have a lot of fat on them, but they're eating shitty and they have a bad liver. They got to get a gallbladder out. It's not about always what someone looks on the outside. Sometimes people struggle with health internally. Yeah, you're in your late 20s now, so a lot of repetitive motion, whether you're constantly eating the same kind of food, whether you're constantly watching the same type of toxic, scary movie, whether you're listening to the same toxic, song that's telling you, fuck people, don't trust nobody.
Oh my God. I tell people all the time, like, your diet is not only what you eat, it's what you consume.
It's
through
consumption.
The eyes, through the ears, the tongue, the way you speak, the things it's so crazy. Like, you mentioned that, and I'm like, ended up on this weird place in TikTok.
When you land on fill in the blank TikTok.
I landed on, and maybe you'll agree with me as like a healthy relationship girl, I landed on the TikTok where everybody man cheats. All of them, they all cheat.
Oh my God.
They were like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, like what? I started thinking to myself, I was like, could that be my reality? And I was like, no, I need to get off of this.
I need to take a few steps back.
Because you consume a lot of that content and you start thinking like, is that my life too? Do I need to question something?
Right.
Is that like a reality? So definitely the things we watch, the things we listen to, the music too, like.
Right.
And it's like, girl, you ain't got no haters. Even social media, like even the people I follow, I had to I've muted people's content because I'm like, that is part of my diet. Like, I should not follow someone that's always beefing with somebody, always throwing subliminals, always fighting. Girl, I'm 31. I should not know anyone that is beefing with somebody else. We are way too old for that. And I was like, oh, blocked, mute, unfollow. Like, I will do that quick because to me, it's like, that's consumption.
Right.
That's just as bad as food.
But what about our friends? I mean, I entered a beautiful relationship, stopped resonating like, oh, girl, what's the tea? Oh, girl, what's the tea? And then, people started falling off, or people, universe starts exposing individuals that are just not on your wavelength, and it gets kind of dark when you're like, whoa, but I'm going to choose me because what I said I wanted, I'm going to hold myself accountable, is I said I wanted the healthy relationship. I said I wanted, the healthy friendships. I said I wanted all this stuff. And unfortunately, I got to let you go and it's hard that I have to do this.
Everything comes at a price.
It just does.
Everything comes at a price. I've learned that the hard way, the good way. I take it for face value, but I will say that, not everyone is supposed to be a part of every season of your life,
right.
And not everybody's going to get it. Some people are going to feel some type of way because they're not there and they're like, well, that's not fair. Like, you're in this place. It's so many different factors to all that, but not everyone is supposed to be around. And that's cool. Like, I take it for like, that's great. Like, this is the life I chose. I'm living in it. Be here if you want. There's a seat. And if not, okay, cool. That's cool too.
Yeah, because comparison is the thief of joy. And when you start comparing yourself, like, it's always good to feel inspired by others, but comparing yourself is just, and I thought we was talking about, like releasing karma, and you over here creating the karma.
Yeah,
fuck out of here with that shit.
Like it's a no for me.
It's just not giving expansion, and it's just like Jupiter's in Aries right now. No, we know what it is. We've gone through the lessons. We're here to initiate and just get out of our shells. The lunar node now is South Node's in Scorpio, so all that fake shit, all that very mystical, oh my goodness, all my mystery. It's like when I was in my toxic hot girl phase, it's like I was so attracted to the mystery. And then you see the truth, and then the sex appeal just goes right out the door.
That person seems so ordinary. It's just so
It
ordinary.
seems like the
so
same
basic.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been there. I remember those days. Wow, it was a long time ago.
It's just so much growth in deciding, making a decision, sticking with it, executing, maybe falling off a couple times here and there, but getting right back on because you love it. And I love the gym. I'm not gonna lie. There was a point where I used to struggle to get to the gym. If I'm not in the gym, it's because I'm dead ass hurt or busy or some shit like that. But it's the food. It's such.
The gym part is easy once you get it down packed.
It's the stuff you put in your mouth that gives you this like explosion in your brain, and it makes you want to dance. You ever see everyone just starts dancing when they eat? Why is that? Why do we dance?
Dancing. It's horrible. That's how people know I'm happy.
Or you're like talking to the person you're with at the at the restaurant, but every time the server passes by, you're like, what I'm really here for is that food. Okay, because me and you could have this conversation in the living room. We could have did this at home, free 99.
But we're here.
What's your guilty pleasure?
We've had this Five Guy kick.
You were talking to me about that.
Like, why? First of all, I never used to eat Five Guys. We recently went and tried the TikTok. If you guys see on TikTok, there's this whole thing on Five Guys. You ask for grilled cheese with the patty.
Oh my god.
It's horrible. It is like the worst. You probably won't see those Five Guys ever again.
Or just eat the patty, no bun.
I'm an all or nothing girl. Like when I go into like,
what is your diet? Yeah, talk
when
to me.
I go into like a full mode of like, okay, we're gonna stop with the shits, I'm like all or nothing. Like I'm not the type of person, even with my clients, if they're like, oh my god, I really want a cookie, I'm gonna have like a sugar-free. Girl, if you don't eat a regular ass cookie, get it out your system, go on about your day. Right. I'm not the type to be like, I'm gonna have a burger and a lettuce bun.
Do you drink Diet Coke?
No, it's pointless.
You gonna drink the Coke?
I'm gonna drink the regular Coke. Why would you put yourself through that? Unless you genuinely enjoy it, good for you. But I'm not gonna torture myself if I don't have to. So I'm like an all or nothing. Like if I can't have the burger on the burger bun, I'm not having a burger. I'm gonna eat my ground turkey with my broccoli and white rice. And I'm gonna just call it a day. Because I want to enjoy things to the fullest. I don't really want to like play down things.
So you believe calories in, calories out?
Scientifically, that's the only way you can lose weight. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Like there's no way around it. But I will say, like when I'm working with people, one of the things I tell them, I'm like, if you're eating trash, even just you converting over to like balanced meals, at some point you're going to hit a calorie deficit, and you're just going to build like a healthier like overall lifestyle. And for example, a lot of the people that come to me, they're like, I eat fast food all the time and I eat this. A lot of people that come to me aren't eating their salads and their veggies and their chicken breasts. They're eating food they don't need to eat. And if we just swap that out for some homemade food, you'll see the difference will kind of just start taking place on its own. Whether that be in a calorie deficit, they start going to the gym. So it kind of balances itself out, and you kind of unintentionally go into calorie deficit. But unfortunately, that is the only way you can really lose weight, is you have to do calorie deficit, and you might have to go into calorie counting. I don't tell my clients to calorie count because I feel like when you're starting out a weight loss journey for the first time and you're trying to transition into that mindset, it's really hard on the mind to tell someone to pick up their phone.
I feel like weight loss is all mental.
Yeah, it's really toxic. So I don't do that. Once someone gets to like a really good place where I tell them, hey, make half of your plate at least veggies and fruits, and then pick a protein, a small amount of carbs. So I set them up in a place where, okay, you mastered that. Then we can go into calorie deficit and calorie counting because you have the lifestyle down packed. Having someone that never has counted a calorie in their life go into that from one day to another, girl, you'll lose your mind. And then you'll end up in the binge cycle of like, okay, I maybe I just need to eat a chicken breast, and then at night you're like, ooh, but that ice cream, and then you go into a frenzy, and then it's a vicious cycle.
I'm good all day. as soon as it hits 8 p.m.
it's a wrap. I know. I am the same way. I will go to the gym, have my protein shake, I'll do all these things, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
why? It's like,
damn, I could really like have a cookie right now with some ice cream. And me being the intuitive, listen to your body. Yes, we must have the cookie and the ice cream because we have to be happy and honor our body. It's toxic.
Well, think about intuition. I've learned this when I first lost that good amount of weight, and I'm gonna bring this back and keep it alive. But they say when you are thinking about that stuff, it's the mind detoxing it out the body. You're thinking about the burger because it's leaving, you know, like the parasites. And
it's funny because when I thought about like, oh my God, I need to lose weight, like I know how to do it. Right. I know how to do it. It's just all mental right now. For me, I'm not in the headspace to do all that. I'm very much like,
are you getting there? It's New Year. How much weight do you want to lose this year?
I don't have a number. I think I just want to go back into certain habits that I had. I want to go back into like there's certain things about my old life that I miss, and that is the healthy habits that I had, and the lifestyle was very okay. This is what I'm doing, this is what I'm eating, and I kept to it, and I never chased that high that I'm chasing now, or like, oh my God, that the love hormones with the dopamine and then endorphins. There's so many hormones going around that I'm like, okay, no, I want to go back to that, and whatever that number looks like, I'll take it. Because it's not like I'm like, oh, I want to lose the 60 pounds. I actually want to keep some of the weight. I like it. I like where it went. It's looking real good. It's staying real nice. But we definitely have to get back to a place where we're not gaining. I gained 60 pounds in a matter of 2 years. Like, that's a lot. Like, to me, that's horrible, right? To the normal person if I go tell a client that. So for me, I'm like, I just want to go back to like my lifestyle and my habits and my consistency. And that's actually another thing that I'm thinking about too, even for like next year. I'm like, well, essentially I want to prep my body for pregnancy. Like I do want to have kids.
Yeah.
And besides being overweight just because of vanity reasons, when you're overweight, you're so prone to so much more medical and health issues when you're pregnant. You can have gestational diabetes, which might never go away. Preeclampsia. There's so many things, and I think about those things.
But I've heard of it so many times.
You know, the swelling and the bloating in your body. Like, there's so many things, and to me, I'm like, those are things I also have to think about. On top of like, well, I just want to be like a little cute. I want to be a little cute, but at the same time, preventable. I don't want to have pre-diabetes or high cholesterol.
Right.
And then I don't want to get pregnant and put weight on top of weight.
Life just been feeling so different, and even though we've been talking about struggles and health and weight, it's beautiful. I'm blessed to be able to face these struggles with, you know, my loved ones and my sisters. They got the weight where it needs to go, but I love that we're health conscious because we want to be preventable, and we want to love ourselves, and we want to know that every action, every food, every habit, we're choosing for ourselves. We're not choosing against ourselves. Every time we want to indulge in something like ice cream and something just with no nutritional value, it's like, what are you truly like?
What are you truly trying to heal?
Right.
Ooh. Right. I'm gonna leave that one for next time.
Okay, so if you are here for the first time, don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit follow where you're watching this. I do have a Colombia retreat coming up. It's in March, so if you're looking to come with us, I know it's not too much in advance, but come out. We're going to be out there. Spring equinox is an adventure of a lifetime. And Diana, tell them what you're doing right now.
So you guys can find me on TikTok. I do a lot of body confidence, body positive content. You can also follow me on Instagram through Sensational Bodies. That's where I do a lot of my weight loss, nutrition, accountability coaching as well. So yeah.
All right, guys, again, take 2 deep breaths before you finish this episode. I love you, and till next time, ciao.